And we're live. Welcome to our Lammas ceremony. This is a short and sweet ceremony. We're just together for the hour. But I've told you before, this is one of my favorite, what I think is an overlooked holiday in the wheel of the year, because the primary harvest, and we made a candle for you this year that has the 3 harvest goddesses on it, which is coming full circle because we wanted to do something like this last year, and I wasn't with SG last year. So tonight is our Lammas ceremony. So we're at the first harvest. Then this candle will take you through Mabon. This is our fall equinox goddess, and then to our Samhain goddess. So if you've got your candle, and we're doing 2 things tonight. Smudge is really excited. I'm going to make a bundle live with you because this is our first harvest. So everything is from my garden except the white sage, which is from the lovely humans who have supplied white sage organic. It's USDA certified organic white sage from the same farm that I was bundling with 14 years ago when I started Sage Goddess. So it's really cool. I feel like their energy is here in the room to have their sage. We are going to have these bundles. So Han and I were bundling today. We're going to have these bundles available on my birthday. They're, it's the first time we've had hand-wrapped organic sage bundles for you in a long time. This one I'm going to do as a little fun enter to win for the weekend, just for everybody who's in this group. So, because we have a huge surprise pop-up Rock Talk gem show basically coming to the website tomorrow. There's a video going around where you can see the stones we're going to be talking about and the jewelry. I'm wearing the jewelry today. It's my favorite little duo of that cuff and the beaded bracelet. So anyway, if you end up shopping for anything at Rock Talk this weekend, then you just need to come back to this post. We'll put a post up. I'll take a picture of the bundle at the end. Seriously, and I will put that up, and then we'll announce the winner on Monday, which is kind of cool. It's cool to be bundling on the day, and then I'm going to activate this grid for tonight. This is the some of you have gotten this grid. We just put it up this week, so you wouldn't have it yet, but I'm going to tell you about this grid and then start the process of putting it together. Robin and I thought it was a cool idea for you to have a grid that would take you through all 3 harvests, and then these are the stones that come with it. So I will activate that grid together tonight. And your notes for tonight. So it's just putting energy in the field. Yeah. And I'm going to basically, my intention tonight is to, I wrote a poem for you. So this is your notes. This will be printed in your notes, or part of your notes when you get them. Like kind of an invocation for tonight for us. There is, when I did the public blessing that's out there, I read from the Book of Blessings. There is a whole section on Lammas. And so if you have this book, it's always fun at the holidays to go and get this book out and refresh on the meaning of the holiday itself. But we're going to talk about that as well too. And then see what's on your mind at First Harvest. So maybe let's begin there. How are you guys? How are you doing? And this is always a happy, sad day for me because after August 1st, the time passes so quickly. I always used to say it was Lammas and then the first day of school. And even though those are separated by like 3.5 weeks, that August 1st to that August 24th, 25th each year, like Nick starts community college on the 25th, I think. You blink and it's here. So it is the unofficial end of summer Lammas, even though we still have 7 weeks. I know. I love summer, but I also look forward to fall. I'm not a winter person, but we have some of the best weather in Southern California between the end of August and the end of December. So I look forward to like warm, dry days, and even though the nights are a little shorter, you know what I mean? The weather is just so beautiful in the fall. So I hope you're looking forward to it as well. Right? Yeah. Stephanie, you have a school birth date. My ex-husband is August 25th. And so he was always like, the first day of school was always his birthday. So the kids were always in shitty moods, which I thought was kind of funny. My birthday was still a party because it's the 9th. And so we still could like pretend it's summer. And then after that, it's like, you can feel it in the air. Right? So anyway, happy early birthday to you. So the history of the harvests, Lammas comes from the Old English word loaf moss, because this was a celebration. This was an honoring of the first things you can harvest from your garden or from your fields, and for our ancestors who relied upon the land, right, for their well-being. This was the, by now you can tell how you're going to do. I can look around my garden, even though this isn't the proper harvest yet. I can tell you, like, my grapes didn't do so well this year. Some of the things, the peaches did well, the figs didn't do well. This was their what our ancestors did around the first week of August. And there's other feasts, and even in Greece there are feasts. There's a fasting going on right now on the island of Crete, where I'm from, and then there's feasting around the mid-month in the Orthodox Church. So there is kind of like an acknowledgement that this is a time to go within, to express gratitude, to pray for the crops, and to, for growth. Because at Lammas, what we want to give the crops a chance to keep growing and then see what the fullness of their growth cycle looks like. And so this is true for our soul harvest too, right? Like, we need to, part of what I want to do briefly as we're gridding is just do a visualization as we place our stones. And I want you tonight to think about the times and places when you have grown and expanded. And ironically, it's true for nature too. Some of the biggest growth periods, I don't know if this is true for you, but for me it is, come during times of challenge, right? When things are easy and when things are smooth and you don't have to, really invest your time and your energy, those times can feel fun and easy. I'm glad everything's good, Liz, by the way. They can feel fun and easy, but they're not stretching you. Like, stretch marks come when one part of our growth outpaces the other, right? Like, I always say, the stretch marks from being pregnant are your body, like, trying to keep up with the immense growth, right, that you are physically going through. And so I just think, like, we have to appreciate the stretch mark moments, and also understand that sometimes it's good to reconnect with the vibration you feel when you're in a growth phase. That's why I want to get you to focus on that. And even just right now, like, ask yourself, what were those growth phases? Maybe it was when you were pregnant with children. Maybe it was when you were going back to school or starting school, right? These big crucible moments that test us are also these growth spaces, right? Like, whoa, I didn't know I was capable of that, or I didn't think I could make it through something like that. And then we do, and we realize the gift on the other side of those experiences is kind of knowing what we're made of. So what I believe we can do when we think about growth times in our life, and one of the best stones, by the way, to work with in your collection around Lammas is green aventurine. It's the stone of growth. It's literally like your plant's growth hardened into a stone form. Citrine is another great stone to work with. Obviously, there's citrine in the grid too. So these are two stones. If you were going to ask me, like, hey, what are the proper Lammas stones? I would say green aventurine, citrine. We also put a couple of other stones in here for you too. We put lithium, which I think is great. We put carnelian, which is super important, right? This is caffeine in a stone form, right? We put red rutilated quartz. Rutile always, for me, is about transformation, and the red sort of represents staying grounded during periods of change, managing change effectively and efficiently for yourself. And then I think the last, we put the a piece of mahogany obsidian in here for you too. Grounding your roots, preparing you for what's coming and what's ahead. Agni monatite, which is one of the most powerful of the tektites, born of fire, right, is about teaching you how to alchemize your deep emotions and feelings to make them productive. What else do I want to tell you about? Do I have that? I think I'm missing this. Oh no, I do have it. This is one of the coolest stones in the whole grid, and I want to point it out to you. This is called Natural Confetti Sunstone and Silver Flash Moonstone. This stone, when you get it, you might look at it and go, I don't know what that is. Is that Merlinite? What is it? What's cool about this is to my knowledge, nobody else has this. We got the rough material. This was like 3 or 4 years ago. And it's from Africa, and it is natural confetti sunstone. They found a pocket where it was growing with the silver flash moonstone. So it's sun and moon in one. And to me, that's like the ultimate alchemy. So this is a super special stone. When you get it, set that aside. The citrine skull is super special too. These are all hand carved. And then the other thing I wanted to tell you why it's so special is the generator. The generator is the same material that we had worked into a generator. So this is sunstone with mica and quartz. And there's some moonstone in there as well. Isn't that gorgeous? That's one of the coolest little generators we've ever given you. So if you haven't gotten the grid yet, you can, there's still some of them available. I think they're on Etsy so that we're shipping them to you more quickly. So you have to go to the Athena's Lair Etsy. Circe has the link, and she's posted it in the feed. Thank you for doing that. So if you would like that grid, it's gorgeous. This is one of our best harvest grids I think we've ever done. And of course, we're putting it on a Metatron's cube. So I thought that was rad too. Okay, so going back, I want to invite you to call your energy into present time. Tonight is a great opportunity. And the other interesting thing is we have a waxing moon right now. I know I've been watching her, but she's been so clear and right out over the ocean from my bedroom. I love this time of year because the moon rises right over the water, and it's gorgeous, especially in the middle of the night. So I don't know if you've been watching her, but she's steady waxing and she's gaining her strength, and it's going to be a really powerful full moon that's coming up next weekend. So this is a perfect time too to focus on growth, to raise energy for growth. The moon herself is growing, right? We always want to work with the natural cycles and energies that are happening. So it's the perfect moon phase to do this work too. So you just fill the inside of your walls of your bedroom with carnelian. I love that for us. That's rad. That is a story to tell. I'm going to light my candle. So cheers. Lammas blessings to you. You've been watching the moon. She's just particularly beautiful right now. I mean, not that I'm ever disappointed, but the last couple of nights I've just been going out. Sometimes I'll wake up in the middle of the night and go out the last couple of nights, and it's just like, love me some moon. Okay, so I just want to make sure there wasn't anything in the Book of Blessings that felt important to share with you before there is a Lammas ritual on page 91. And it's where you turn and face all the directions. And I think that's a cool ceremony too. So just so you know, on page 91, if you have this, it basically takes your candle and has you move yourself into a circle. And then there's another ritual on page 87. You can make a despacho, which is a really powerful, we've done them before, a really powerful indigenous practice of creating offerings that you then bury and return to the earth. So those are there for you as well. Okay. Let's open our circle. I'm telling you, we're going to blink, and it's going to be the second harvest, and we're going to blink, and it's going to be the third harvest. And then we're going to blink and be wishing each other a happy new year. So, but on a soul level, what's really important right now is that any work that you want to do, any growth that you want to experience, you basically have the next 6 to 7 weeks to manifest all of that. So I think it's a really important time to focus on what is it, even just bringing your energy and your attention there right now. What is it that hasn't happened for you yet that you really were like, I really want this year to be about X, right? And put as much energy and focus as you can into that intention as we hold space together tonight. So I'm not going to use my drum to call in the guides and guardians, just going to use my voice tonight. Lammas for me is very simple. It's about getting back to basics and really focusing on the energy and the intention. So again, just calling your energy into present time. A nice deep breath there. So welcoming in the guides and the guardians of the East tonight to help us open a new circle for a new cycle, helping us to enter the season of grace and gratitude as we start to leave behind the seasons of creation and initiation. We're now firmly in the season of growth and expansion, heading toward the season of rest. So thank you for welcoming us into this circle together, helping us to create clarity, to open new doorways and new portals and pathways, and also to come up with new solutions tonight to challenges that you've faced this year. This would be a great time too to ask your higher self and your spirit guides, what do I need to know that I don't know right now? What do I need to see that I can't see right now in order to complete the manifestation cycle for yourself? And then welcoming in the guides and guardians of the South, energy of fire. This is creativity, passion, stamina. And this is where we turn, the direction of South is where we turn for the energy we need to get through the tasks before us to complete this year in a good way. So welcoming in the guides and guardians of the South, helping to reconnect us with what we deeply desire, also what we need, what we want. And then turning to West, and you can physically turn and face these directions too. And sometimes that does give them a little bit more energy. And if there's a direction that you're focusing on, like maybe you're really focusing on fire magic right now, or you're really focusing on water energy right now, you can turn and face that direction for the whole calling in of the directions. Just to, sometimes when we face the direction, there's more flow through our own system too. So in the West, we call upon the guides and guardians here with gratitude for healing, renewal, helping us to surrender with grace and ease the things that can no longer travel with us through the seasons ahead. And deep breath there. Thank you. Will you turn up the music just a touch more? I don't know. It's hard to hear, but I don't want it too loud either. I know it can go kind of weird, or maybe progress it to the next track. That's good. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And then turning our energy to the North, guides and guardians of Earth. This is where we turn for patience, for presence, for grounding, for a reminder of why we're here, and for advice and guidance on where we're to go now. Where do we need to be? Where do we need to place our attention and focus? And thank you to the East and the South, to the West and to the North for being with us this evening, for helping to anchor all of our energy in those 4 sacred cardinal directions. Thanking and welcoming in to any guides of spirit who wish to be present to our circle, and any guides and guardians of the vertical channels, the upper world, the middle world, the lower world. Connecting us with all of the angels and all of the ancestors and everything in between. And then bringing all that energy, because, when we do these circle openings, I know you know this, but it's just a reminder. It's because I always like to think about it. We're calling in all of the guardians of each gateway, but it's 2 different planes, right? It's the horizontal plane with north, south, east, west, and it's the vertical plane with the above, within, and below. And so what that should remind you as you bring that energy back to your heart is that you're anchored in the center of all of that, right? You're protected from all directions. I'm so glad you're here. Another deep breath there. And exhale. Now that we're in a good tight circle. It's a simple poem for us tonight, but it felt right for the moment. So as I read these words, I just want you to check in with yourself too and your own energy. What is your offering? You might have an additional prayer that you want to say in addition to my words. And so I would just, guide you to add that to your notes, your book of wisdom. If you're an apothecary, this is a great time to add to that book as well. First harvest, 2025, of love and joy, of gratitude. And really not just saying the words, but really letting them land. Gratitude, right? Of grief and hidden sorrow, now visible all coming forward to be received. Everything a gift for growth, for strength, for love. We bow our heads in prayer with grace and appreciation, because small seeds sown well bear eternal fruit. On this and all days, together we say, thank you, and we look ahead. Amen, aho, and so it is. Amen, aho, and so it is. Okay, so my thought was to bundle first. I'm going to turn my camera down so you can watch me. And like I said, this will be a fun gift for someone. And we'll have more. I think we're making 24 of them for my birthday, which is really cool because we haven't done it in so long. I think it's been at least a year, maybe more, since there were homemade bundles at Sage Goddess with the original OG sage. Like I said, that's the really special part about this. It's from the original location that I went to 15 years ago, because I can't grow enough sage to make bundles, but they do, and they sing to it and pray over it, and it's on their property, and it's just super magics. And look at the heart. I mean, I don't know if you saw this. I posted this. This is a rose from my front yard. I really never noticed that some of its petals are heart-shaped. It's an absolute perfect heart. So I thought that was really, really sweet. I was looking to see if any, because I saw one on the other rose that I didn't pick. This one is kind of heart-shaped. Oh, here's another one. It's so awesome. Look at that. 2 hearts. That has to be symbolic. I have to take a picture of that before I use these because that's just really cute. I still get excited about things like that. I'll share the picture in our group so that you can. Sometimes things like this are cute to keep as your little screensaver on your phone. How cute! Okay, I'll send that to you later. Okay, so the way I bundle, I also grabbed some thyme from my garden. Thyme, if you were an apothecary, we talked about it the other night because I put some of it into the spirit water that I made with you, the consecration water. Thyme, in metaphysics and even in Shakespeare's language, is for remembrance. It's also for releasing and letting go, but it also helps you to connect with past life memories too. So it's not just remembrance from this lifetime. And then I had a couple of beautiful lavender flowers still on some of these pieces. It's growing, but I didn't have as many flowers this year. But a few of them sticking out of the top of the bundle is really pretty. So I'm going to show you how to bundle white sage. And it's such a healing practice. Everybody does it slightly differently. Where I get picky about it is, so I'm gonna show you how I form it. I like it to be the same thickness all the way down because it dries better that way. And the worst thing you can do to a sage bundle is not bundle it so it dries well and it falls apart. So I'll show you. Han and I were laughing because we both did this part where we're like basically massaging it, and it looks kind of X-rated, but you have to do this to figure out the proper width of it. I want to make it nice, and I'd rather have a thicker, shorter one than a longer, skinny one, and you can do with that statement whatever you need to do with that, but it's true. I don't care how long you are, if it's, real thin, I can't feel it, so I need a thicker one. God, I don't know what I just did to myself, but sometimes it's good that you're not here in person, so I just can't hear you cackling at me from the back of the room. I would be laughing my ass off if I was watching this right now. I can't with myself. And sometimes the words come out of my mouth so fast that it's like, well, that's already out, so there's nothing I can do. Okay. I don't feel happy with this yet. Hold on. Let me massage them a little bit more. And sometimes I really have to. This is why they're expensive when you see the bundles and you're like, oh my God, they're expensive, because I can do like only a few an hour. And organic white sage is crazy expensive. But these bundles are done well, so they will last you a really long time. Okay. Third time's a charm. So as I'm doing this, I'm also thinking about my gratitude for this plant, which launched 1,000 ships for me. And my gratitude for the people who grew it, because it gives me a chance to feel their energy too, which is rad. Okay, this is feeling good to me. It feels thick enough. I'm satisfied. What I do is I go down and I get all the ends together. When I'm done, I will cut this and make it pretty. And I leave. Can you see my hands? Yeah, it needs to have some girth for me, honey. I leave about that much at the bottom to tie it off when I'm finished, and I hold it right there by my index finger, and I tie it tight, because this is the first place that bundles go awry, and you got to wrap it fresh. I don't bundle dried herbs because it's just hard. So I think I wrapped it around 3 or 4 times, tight enough where it's going to hold itself. Okay. And then I come and I place my first rose. And I'm not looking at the comments right now, so if you have questions, seriously, you can answer them, or I can answer them when I come back to you. I just want to make sure I've got a good start here. Oh, I didn't put my other herbs on. Hold on. Sorry, I do want to add my thyme and my lavender. Not all of it, but some. I'm just going to spread that over the length of the bundle. You're not going to see the bottom, so I try to add it on both sides. And then I'm going to add some of my lavender so that the flowers will stick out at the top. Like that. That's good. Now he feels even better. This is a real good bundle, y'all. It's pretty. And then you smell so good. The natural, oh my God, the addition of the thyme and the lavender, you guys, it just smells like heaven. And again, I'm tying 3 or 4 times really tight here. And leaving some at the bottom. And then I'm going to put my first rose petal down. Like this. I'm wrapping with fresh rose petals, which I normally don't do. I normally let them wilt for a day because they crack. So if you see the rose cracking, it just is what it is. What I do when I'm wrapping with fresh is I will put 2 rose petals down instead of 1 to try to strengthen it. So if you're going to do these, I should have left my rose petals out overnight to dry a little bit, and I didn't. Hannah did for our ones at the shop. So those are going to look a little more perfect because we did the right thing. Okay. And then I'm going to wrap it again. I'm just coming up and over, and I'm slightly up to the right, you'll notice, because then I'm going to come back when I come back down, I'm going to go to the left, and that makes the X's that you're used to seeing. Bring this up and over. Again, tight, 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 holding it the whole time. Because if you don't, when it dries, it will fall apart. Put another rose there. Yep, and over to the right. So now I'm thinking about when I planted that thyme with my dad. And the rosemary was a gift from my dad, or the lavender, I mean. So just gratitude for the plants, for the people who brought them to me, for the time with you to be able to do this. And I believe that that energy goes into the finished product. And is part of the reason why you feel different when you wrap something that's been made at a high holiday, or you work with something that was made at a high holiday and by someone who was doing it with intention versus how many of these can I make in an hour. I think I'm going to stop there and start to bring it back. Let me wrap it one more time. Okay, I'm going to put one of these heart-shaped petals right at the top. So that seems like good luck. And it was perfect. And to bring it back down. And then look, you can still see the heart at the top. Isn't that cute? So as you bring it back down, again, holding it really tight, and you're crisscrossing so it looks like little X's of the thread. You see that down the front? And down, and down, and down, and down, and down, and then turn it over to the back. Cut the excess thread. And then still holding it tight. These are the tough parts of the process, but they're worth it. Still holding it really tight. I always do this in a bow so that if I need to tighten it, I can. If you tighten a knot, you don't leave yourself the freedom to be able to adjust it as it's drying. And then that will hang in my bathroom this weekend, upside down drying for you. And the end result will be that you have dried thyme for remembrance, dried white sage, some little lavender cuties peeking up from over the top, and that will last you a really long time. So I'm excited for whoever receives that one. Okay, yay! I'm so glad you were here for that. It feels weird not to look at you, so I'm gonna look at you really quick. And if you have some fresh herbs in your garden, you may not have white sage, but if you have kitchen sage and some thyme and some lavender and stuff, I mean, this is the weekend to bundle. I would highly recommend you do it. It's very relaxing. It's very soothing. My hands smell like heaven. They smell like thyme and magics. It really does. She can smell it. She's across the room. All right. I love you too. We'll see you soon. Yes. Okay. So I'm gridding with the tools that are, in that grid that Robin and I made for you. If you want to make your own grid, you can. Other alternative centerpieces, obviously green aventurine is super great for that. If you have a small citrine generator, that would be rad. I'm just working with what we gave you. So I'm just going to place the stones. I like to, when I have natural and natural, I like to place them across from each other just aesthetically. Can you guys see this okay? So this is the carnelian and the sunstone moonstone, and then this is the mahogany obsidian and the red rutilated quartz across from each other. And then I'm going to put my little citrine scully facing me this way. And I think I'm going to put the Agni monotite skull like this facing that way. Like that. That feels good. You're looking for balance. You're trying to create balance when you're gridding. So the orange and black, which is very Samhain, that's very final harvest. I feel like the lithium is very first harvest. So maybe we'll do that here and here. And when you're gridding, you can put all the points facing in if you want, which means all the energy of this grid will come to you. Or you can put all the points facing out, which means the energy will be dispersed, right? So if you're sending this energy, and you can always rotate them, maybe you're building the grid for yourself tonight, but then you're going to say a prayer for the planet or whatever at the next harvest, or abundance for everybody, and you want to turn the points. Just all I would say is make sure you deactivate and reactivate the grid. And I'm going to show you what activation looks like right now. But if I'm changing the purpose or the intention, I will deactivate and reactivate. Okay. I'm going to check the feed and see what you guys are saying. I love that. Time is on your side. Yeah, that you will love the grid. It's a really beautiful, it's well done. It's a good value too. You have everything but sage. Yeah, and sometimes I know it's a hack, but it's an effective hack. Sometimes your local grocery stores have herbs in the wherever they have their produce, and sometimes you can just get some kitchen sage. It's still a member of the salvia family. Salvia apiana is, so white sage and kitchen sage are related. And what I would say is, in a pinch, kitchen sage is great. The alternative, by the way, to white sage in a bundle for me, if you want to know, it's rosemary. And I bet you have rosemary. If it's not growing in your garden, maybe your neighbors are growing it. I have an agreement with my neighbors that if I have something fun that they want, like sometimes they want some of my jasmine flowers and stuff, then they give me oranges. So make friends with your neighbors, because if they're growing rosemary but you don't have it, you could always partner with them. And yay! I'm so glad that we're doing this tonight. It felt good to do something active because we're celebrating harvest, which is active. Okay, so I'm just feeling into the energy of this grid, right? Obviously, we're putting this together and activating it in a circle, which is great. It's always kind of nice when you're building a grid to have your pendulum and just ask, are these the right stones together for this purpose? Is there anything else that needs to be added to this grid? Oh, okay, good. Yay. Okay, so again, just taking a deep breath here. Actually, I think I might. Something just told me, like, why don't you activate it with this citrine? I got this in Denver last year. I don't know if you can see. It has some rad, I can't tell what you're seeing, but it has this shelf inside with this spray of rutile, and it's kind of nuts. The person who was selling this had it on a table with all of this other kind of like really normal citrine, and of course leave it to me to find the not normal. And then if you look inside, there is a bar of black rutile. I don't know if you can see it. Anyway, it's kind of nuts. So I was like, oh, hey, come with me, little guy. Little guy that's kind of rad. There's a rainbow in there too. I'm trying to get all the cool things to you so you can see. I get lost for days when I'm looking at crystals and all their inclusions, which is why I'm dangerous to go to a gem show with. All right. So we'll activate with this instead of this. Sorry, bro. So what we do when we activate a grid is, what matters most is the intention, right? Because this is an energetic process. And so I'm envisioning that the energy of the double term, which you have to activate with a double terminated quartz-based something, the energy that I'm sending into this double terminated point is being channeled through that, down through the bottom termination, and will connect with everything that's on this grid. The reason we don't have to touch the stones, we can come close to them as we're activating, is that I really don't even need to be this close. And you all know this. These stones all have a 48-inch field around them. This stone has a 48-inch field around it. Technically, I could be feet away from this grid and still be activating it. So some people are very clear about wanting to touch each crystal. I think that's super nice. It also makes it harder. You can knock things over. So as long as you are within 2 feet of this grid, you are directly activating and connecting these stones. So let's take a breath here. I want you to, I'm creating this grid for all of us, right? Even if you choose to get this grid down the road, you don't have it right this minute. And so I want you to feel that this is for you, the energy that we're raising here tonight. That's why my points are out, because I want you to be able to feel the energy of this grid. If I turn all these points in, then the grid is basically something I'm building for myself, and that's not my intention. So my intention with this grid, and if you look at the chakras that are represented here, the lithium is kind of crown chakra-y, but I mean, these are really sacral, root, and earth star stones. So my intention tonight is to ground and recognize your achievements this year, your efforts, your investments. What I mean by investment is the energy that you have put into everything that you've done this year. the stuff people have seen and the stuff nobody sees, right? The extra hours that you've put in for yourself, for your family, that goes unappreciated. The time that you've spent, seeding the crops of your year. I really just want to take a moment, and as we ask the spirit guides to gather around this grid, I want to take a moment to really acknowledge that, and energetically to transfer. This is where gratitude comes in, right? Like, I'm grateful for you. I'm grateful for all of the energy that you have put into your growth, your transformation. I'm grateful for the beauty that all of you bring to this planet, to my life. I'm grateful for all the things that you've learned and taught yourself and exposed yourself to, because as your wisdom increases, so does our collective wisdom. And I want to take a moment just to say I'm proud of you. I'm proud of the energy that you've put in. I'm proud of the commitments that you've made, even when it's hard and, it's been difficult to keep the faith. You've been strong. So just sending that gratitude, acknowledgement, appreciation. I just think it's so important. That for me is what the harvest is about. We're not really saying please tonight. We're saying thank you, right? Like, thank you for the strength, the wisdom, the beauty that surrounds us and connects us all the time. And my intention with this grid is that it will raise a vibration for you of strength and growth and passion, abundance, wealth, spiritual wisdom, psychic wisdom, deep peace and relaxation, grounding and stability, but also fire, passion, stamina, everything you need to make the most of these next two harvests that we have. And then for the ability, and that's why lithium is there, for the ability to rest and experience peace as we conclude the harvest cycle. Okay. And my plan is to reactivate this grid again at Mabon. That's why we call it the Triple Harvest Grid. To reactivate it at Mabon with you, and then to reactivate it one more time at Samhain. So each time the intention is going to be different. So tonight it's just gratitude and growth. Okay, so I'm going to go out to the east first. So I'm connecting the energy of Sunstone and Moonstone, masculine and feminine, to our orange and black quartz for grounding and strength, and back to Mahogany Obsidian, which is all about your transformation. It's also about clearing and creating space for what's next and what's new in your life, and back to Moonstone and Sunstone. And we do this clockwise because we're opening an energy. When we deactivate a grid, we do it counterclockwise. Okay, so you're going to see me moving clockwise around the grid. So out to lithium for your ability to find peace and relax and soften, and then back to Sunstone and Moonstone. To citrine, because I'm calling in wealth and abundance for you from sources seen and unseen. May it be easy and effortless. And back to Sunstone and Moonstone. Out to red aura quartz for grounding and strength, and back to Sunstone and Moonstone. Out to Sunstone and Moonstone, and integration of the divine masculine and feminine energies with this stone. Also, I always think of Moonstone too as a stone of revelation, showing us what we need to know and also what we need to see. And then back to Sun and Moonstone. Out to the red and orange aura quartz for strength and passion, vitality, and back to the red rutilated quartz for strength through change, and back to Sun and Moonstone. Out to lithium quartz for your ability to soften, relax, and receive. Yep, and then back to Sun and Moonstone. To Agni Monatite for passion, for creation, for co-creation. And back to Sun and Moonstone. Out to red aura quartz. Again, grounding, stabilizing. Back to Sun and Moonstone. To carnelian for your strength and stamina and passion and excitement, for your deepest desires and honoring those, connecting with those, manifesting those, and back to Sun and Moonstone. And then I always go one more time out to the furthest point, just because, and I'll explain it in a minute. So out to the orange and black quartz for strength and passion, and then back to Sun and Moonstone. So I ask that as we have designated these lines of energy across this grid, that this grid is now active, holding and sustaining the vibration of abundance and strength and growth for all who are in this circle, those who will watch now and those who will watch later, and that vibration be maintained until this grid is deactivated at our next harvest and reactivated for another intention. And together we say, Amen, Aho, and so it is. Now I'm going to bring this point of determination to you. And what I want to say is, if you have a crystal, like maybe it could be your magician pendant, or if you have a piece of quartz with you, ideally it's quartz of some kind, I want you to bring it and connect it to the termination. So just, again, within 2 feet, touch your point to my point. I'll show you mine if you show me yours. And that way you can receive the energy. That was awesome. You know, normally we have these fancy Nancy cameras, and sometimes I'm like, do I really need all that? Like, can I just turn my laptop down? I mean, you guys could see pretty clearly, right? I thought that was really helpful. Okay, whoo. Sending and receiving that energy to you wherever you are for your highest good. May your abundance be infinite. Just gonna set some rose petals on there. I'm kind of curious if they will dry differently because the frequency of the grid is so strong. You know what I mean? It's a little experiment. How do roses dry? My little heart-shaped one here. How do rose petals dry when they're on a super high frequency grid? We're gonna find out, yo. And I'll take a picture of this so that I can post it for you. Because some people do like to, again, have these as like their lock screen, because it just reminds them through the day to reconnect with that energy. So I will share that with you. Okay. And then we'll watch those rose petals and see how they go. I just have a feeling. I'm just going to move this slightly over here because I do want to have it here for the rest of my teaching through the month in a protected place. My Paxton eats roses. I think I told you this. He's got a rose fetish. So let's see how long those rose petals last with my dog in here all the time. It's so cute. He sleeps in my bedroom and usually on the bed. But the last couple of nights he's been coming in the crystal room and cuddling up here, and I found him on the crystal room in the morning or on the day bed. It's cute. Anyway, aho to that. That was really special to have that opportunity to grid with you guys and to show you the bundling. So like I said, I'll take a picture of this and we'll post it in the Facebook group. And then I forgot to show you the final part, which is just trimming up the ends so they're nice and even. And then when I do that, even those little pieces go into my smudging bowl. Never, never, never waste sage. Because I'll either return it to the earth or I will pulverize it into white sage powder, which is something fun to do because it's a great thing to have for incense. So if you're at the end of a bundle and you're like, I can barely burn this, just put it in your spice grinder and then add a couple of ingredients to that. You've got a great base for an incense. So yeah, roses and organza bags and Jolly Rancher candy. I can't have Jolly Rancher candy around him. He loses his mind. It's really weird. A weird dog. Okay. So I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes in visualization with you because tonight's a really important night for being in this moment, but also thinking ahead. So I want you to close your eyes, roll your shoulders back. Before I close the circle, I while we're in this soft, relaxed kind of medicine space, right? We've been working with some plant medicine. I've sent you a bunch of energy through that grid. So I want you to ask yourself, what are, or where are, I always do threes, you can do more, 3 places in your life that need growth. Where if they were plants in your garden, you would say, well, they're strong, they're rooted, but they haven't grown as much as I thought they would. That tree hasn't borne as much fruit. It could be a relationship, it could be work, it could be because you haven't tended them closely enough, right? This doesn't have to mean that you need something from somebody else. These could be places in your life where you want to water a little bit better, fertilize a little bit more, right? To see if anything else can grow and become in the growth season for the next 7 weeks. So visualize what those 3 areas are that need more energy to grow and to expand. And then what I'm going to ask is, I want you to make a commitment tonight at this first harvest to invest your energy in those directions. And we're going to ask all of the guides and guardians who've been here to witness this process, to fuel that grid. And I ask that they surround you with the wisdom you need, the support you need in all ways, with the strength you need to be able to manifest what you desire in these areas of your life. And I'm visualizing that. I'm just visualizing all of your higher selves and your guides just sort of coming closer to you and saying, you need to, do this with that. You need to move this over here. You need to spend more time with that person. You need to spend less time with this person so you have more energy for that. Just may you be shown where in your life there needs to be. We've got so much retrograde activity. I think this is a great opportunity to rest and reflect a little bit. And then maybe take the weekend, this first harvest weekend, to think about what that would look like. And on Monday, come up with a plan, right? Here's how I'm going to, fuel growth in my relationship. Here's how I'm going to fuel growth at home. Here's how I'm going to fuel growth, at work or in my company or whatever it is. Like, here's how I'm going to do it. And watch your dreams for the next couple of nights. I think it's just interesting. If you ask these big questions, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? Spirit, show me, guide my hands, guide my steps. You'll be amazed at the clarity that comes. And I think clarity is something that everyone I know is trying to cultivate more of. I think the clearer you are now at the first harvest, the happier you're going to be with the second and third, because after the third is when you sit back. After Samhain is when we all sit back and go, the work of the year is done, right? Our souls went on this journey this year for this reason, and now we have a chance to reflect and rest and go within, right? Oh, I like that. Yeah, Karina said in Georgia, the hummingbirds become more active as they build their resources for their migration. And it feels fitting for our ceremony too. It is, like I said, there's always, some holidays are bitter sweet, right? And this one truly is. It's sweet because it's our first chance to say, wow, thank you, Spirit, for getting us here. And then the bitterness is we have a finite period of time now to direct energy where we want it to go. So take that laser beam of light, that vision, that clarity, that desire that you have, and just spend one more minute with me here, just sending energy to those 3 people, places, relationships, whatever it is. And they can just be intentions. And then I just want you to visualize letting that energy rise from your hands and send it out into the universe now to work on your behalf. And may you feel the strength and the steadiness that it brings you on the return. Woo! How do you feel? I'm so glad you were here with me tonight. Like I said, simple ritual, but important. This is always a turning point in our time together. Lammas. Oh, I love doing ritual with you too. I really do. And could you feel the energy through that citrine? I really love that I got to show you my crystal tonight and you got to feel it and see his crazy. Oh, there you go. Do you see the peacock inside? I call it the peacock. It's like a rainbow, but it's got lines through it and it looks like a peacock's tail. Do you see it? Right there. It's really just a growth interruption, but it created this gorgeous kind of like magics inside. So I'm glad I got to show that to you. Makes you want to go back and go get your crystals and look at them again, doesn't it? There's actually, for my birthday, we have this thing called Athena's Picks, and there's a piece of citrine from the same collection as that piece, because there were a couple of other pieces, but they were all sold. So this was years ago, but we found one piece and it's from the same pocket as that. So when the birthday rolls around and you see the citrine, I don't think it has the same markings in it as that, but it's from the same spot. All right. Whew. Lammas blessings. I'm sending your growth up on angel's wings. So thanking and releasing the guides and guardians for being with us in ceremony tonight. Thanking and releasing the guides and guardians of the lower world, the middle world, and the upper world. Thank you for connecting us with the ancestors, with each other, and with the angels. We release you with gratitude. And then thanking and releasing the guides and guardians of the north. Thank you for the peace and the presence that you bring, for reminding us that we're not alone, for the wisdom that you bring, the encouragement. Thanking and releasing the guides and the guardians of the west, thanking them for healing and for love, for nurturing, for abundance, for renewal. Thanking and releasing the guides and the guardians of the south, for courage, strength, transformation, passion, for all of our desires that lead us to decisions that impact our direction. We thank you, release you. And then last but not least, we thank and release the guides and guardians of the east for new beginnings, new cycles. This is certainly the beginning of an important cycle of your harvest. May the remaining edges of this cycle be blessed as we release them as well. Amen aho. So it is. Well done. Oh, thank you. Yeah, she did a beautiful job, I have to say. You can tell it's shedding. I know I don't touch it, but there's like a little boop right there. But so we'll see the final version. But her shading job on the phases of the moon, I think, was immaculate. So thank you for appreciating it and enjoying it with me. It was a 8-year process. Only took 8 years. No one has said what a cool tattoo, because everybody thought it was real in the first place. So I'm like, what a like what do they call it? Not a buzzkill, but like wah, wah. Nobody was like, "Ooh, you got a tattoo." It was like, about time. Oh, I love you too. Thank you for being here. All right, aho, on we go. So enjoy your first harvest weekend. We'll be back Monday right here in Wax and Wane for our astrological overview of August. Lots of exciting things happening energetically, so stay tuned. There's nowhere else I'd rather be to learn about it and celebrate it than right here. So I'll be with you at 4:00 on Monday for all of that. In the meantime, have a great weekend. Thank you, Circe, for everything you do. The Rock Talk Stones launch at what time tomorrow? I can't remember. Is it noon? You should check it out. There's some really cool stuff. Robin and I spent a lot of time every week putting that together with so much joy. And there's some new, really awesome things. And then there's some things that just, like this cuff, which I love, the lepidolite cuff, that are just crazy affordable. So stay tuned at noon. Yay. Is it Pacific time? Noon Pacific? I can't remember. It's a noon. I don't know if it's my noon or your noon, But it's happening at noon. And then watch the video too. We put a video together where we taught you all about everything that's coming. So it gives you a little preview, and then you can check out the things that resonated with you in the video. So you can actually already know what's coming if you watch our little preview video, and then more to come. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you soon. Have a great rest of your evening.